Hey, it's legendary Chili Man checking in with Armor Up Legend right here. We wanted to set it for the next day. Just kind of talk on the game yesterday, but man, a lot of frustration, like a roller coaster of emotions yesterday. But honestly, I wanted to touch on the Micah Parsons injury because it's just one of the things I've been wanting to talk about, especially with two I believe to the corrupt NFL. And I've been telling this to my son. I love the Packers. I've been a Packer fan since the '90s. But the NFL, what I've seen over the years, just deterred in many different ways to have only one holding call and then only to come from yesterday on Micah Parsons. And especially as a player that played football, the adjustment when you're not getting calls and it said this is possibly the cause of the injury. And I can understand the frustration from Micah Parsons regarding the ref that came up to him. Because in all honesty, it's like you could see blatant disregard for the calls, blatant holding calls. I understand the NFL maybe trying to keep the high scores and protect their quarterbacks, but at the end of the day, it's football. You have to let players play. And I think that's what the NFL has gotten away from to me. And especially the dominant defense of the Packers, you kind of knocked them from all the past years. You've seen pass rushers that are great. And Micah Parsons, top three of top five, what I've seen just in my time of watching football, if not number one. I think just a I can't get the word out. Player of his caliber, to play at that elite level, I think ultimately he deserves the calls, and ultimately, like I said, just the way the Packers have been playing, and just such a great season that Micah Parsons is having to come from the Cowboys in that situation. I think ultimately, I don't know, man. My prayers are up for him. I'm hoping for a speedy recovery, and I do believe a speedy recovery is coming into play. But you got anything you want to touch on with the game?
Hey man, the whole entire NFL is just corrupt right now. They like the entire thing. So for right now, let's just have hopes high that he can make a speedier recovery.
In all honesty, I think he will. I think, like I said, for Parsons, especially the player he is, I think a miracle will come out of this. Hopefully, I don't know. We were hoping to get him back for the playoffs, but a torn ACL, we know those could take a year. But I've seen God do some many crazier things. But prayers up to our brother in Christ. Ultimately, I said just stand-up player to me, and just kind of what I've seen just since he's been over with the Packers. I didn't really see him much in the Cowboys, but I did, of course, the times that we played him. We did dominate the game, so it's like you kind of didn't get to see kind of essence of his game. But now seeing him for the Packers and kind of seeing just how dominant he is and just the level of ability to get to the quarterback and get past these linemen, especially. And the biggest thing that I have is like these defensive ends. This is how they're taught to rush the quarterback, and it's always taught as a ref. Once that hand gets outside of the body, that's when you start to go calling the holding calls. We have plenty of officials looking directly at Micah Parsons with the hand around his neck and around his shoulders, literally holding this player, and he's not getting any holding calls. And I think this is where he adjusted, and I think that's where the frustration came out from Micah Parsons, that these refs are blatantly disregarding these holding calls and cause this injury. And like I said, these are player livelihoods. At the end of the day, I'm a Packers fan, but these players are still, it's like I said, they still have a career. They still got to feed their families. So at the end of the day, the refs should call the game the way it should be played. I think, in my honest opinion, I used to play FanDuel, but I think gambling, and this is what it has done to the NFL. I think Roger Goodell, there's too much greed, and this is just all in the world in general. I believe there's a spiritual warfare. It's just more of my touch of just my faith in Christ and just seeing where we're at in this world. But just in all honesty, I think the NFL has just got deteriorated over the years. I'm still going to be a Packer fan. I still always will be a Packer fan, but my level of respect towards the NFL definitely went down. Just reading regards to this. I think ultimately over the years, Packers have been on this side of the call for too many years. From the Phil Mary to like Clay Matthews with the sack when the refs were protecting the quarterbacks at that time. I just think that these refs ultimately they need to do a better job and they need to be held to a better standard. And the NFL needs to do a better job overall. Just like I said, from marketing, I've just completely I have a utmost dislike for the NFL right now. Complete like for what the Packers do. And what I love about the Packers too, they don't usually follow suit with the NFL. They follow basically, or especially a team that doesn't have an owner. I think the Packers have done a great job. Gutekunst and just the player management, everything the Packers have done over the years. And even me and my son got to take a tour. Been to Lambeau Field plenty of times, but to actually take the tour and kind of see and them speak on the rich history of the Packers and just kind of what they've been able to do over the years and kind of some of the players that came in. You can see Jermichael Finley, a good friend of ours. He's on our chili box, our award-winning chili. If you get a chance, go check that out. Check out his camp. He does a lot of stuff with the players. But we're huge Packer fans around here. We always celebrate legendary players. We feel like a legendary on and off the field. And I feel like that's what Parson has brought to the Packers. And I do believe something will come out of this because I said just seeing Rashawn Gary and the sentiment that he had towards the injury, you can see it definitely affected the team. And I think players will step up. And I pray for a miracle for Michael that he comes back somehow. If that's next year, if he's able to make some miraculous recovery. But our prayers are up to our brother in Christ. And we hopefully, like I said, players will step up. I do believe the Packers have a dominant defense. With Jeff Hafley, I think that things are going the right way. Evan Williams took an injury yesterday too as well, but I think looks like the initial report said it's not of major concern. So I do believe the Packers are still in a good suit. I think Luca Van Ness, I think he's going to step up. I do believe I have utmost faith in him as well. And Rashawn Gary, you saw some disruption out of him yesterday. I do believe he gets back onto his when he played a couple years in that stellar level. I think Gary will get back to that level of play. And that Bari, he did make a big mistake yesterday, but I do believe just an honest mistake. I think it was just kind of one of those games that it just happens. I mean, but I think the Packers will learn from it. I think they'll come back together and they're going to mold together much better. If you look in 2010, I had the same sentiment going into the playoffs back then that we had a stack of injuries, but they pulled it out. I said, like, players will come together, and I think these type of things, they do that to the teams, or they do this for the teams, and that's where you see miracles come out of these type of things. But all in all, it's kind of to address the game. I think ultimately the Packers, I do have some concern with Matt LaFleur. I feel like he's gotten better over the past few weeks, but like just some of the conservative play call and just kind of redundancy to read the play call. And I feel like he could do a better job with that, but I'm not a coach, but I do believe he has been on the better side in the past few weeks. I think just kind of it's slow going. I think some of these injuries could be prevented in this. I said just if we just put the game away and we wouldn't even be in these situations. But to keep putting ourselves in a situation where we're constantly playing heated football all the way till the end of the fourth quarter where possibly we could get up and possibly put some of our backups in and get them playing time. I think Matt LaFleur should have a better approach to that. Like I said, we should not be coming out the first and second quarter with this many mistakes. It's not to blame the players. I ultimately always look at the coach when it comes to these type of things. Undisciplined teams falls on the coach, and I think this is just my honest opinion. I think he's a little bit soft when it comes to like getting in these players' faces, and at least, like I said, holding people to accountability. That's what the job of a coach is. Not necessarily that you're knocking the player, but the players need to be held accountable. If you look at any championship caliber team, one that always sat me at it was the year that Georgia won the championship, and I think that's when Devontae Wyatt as well as Bullard was playing for him. One of the linebackers that called out the other linebacker for he did something wrong in the play. The player stepped up the next play, but he took accountability for it, and that's what you ultimately what you want on a team. You want leaders out there that are calling people out for making mistakes, and they should be held accountable. Because at the end of the day, they're looking to win a Super Bowl, and we're looking to win championship. And at the end of the day, we're looking to just be champions in ourselves. That's if you play football, like a discipline for the game, just anything in life, you just had to be disciplined in your craft. And I think, like I said, that falls on coaching. Not to say it won't get shored up before playoffs. I think it's good that it's kind of happening now, a little early before the playoffs. But I do believe those things need to be addressed. And the special teams, that's another. From all the years I've seen the Packers, especially losing special team, when I was at that game with the block punt versus San Francisco, I think the special teams coordinator, he's getting paid too much money to have these many mistakes for year in, year out. I do believe they need to have a conversation about that in the offseason. I think there's a few conversations need to have around coaching because, like I said, some players, even in Nixon, love the player, love his instincts, but he's not a number one cornerback. I think he's better off filled in a slot. I do prefer to get some more people opportunities, but I'm a Jar Alexander fan. I feel like we should have gave him an opportunity. I understand he has injuries, but at the end of the day, I don't even think it was that big of a hit just to keep him on the team. I felt like he was good and a great locker room addition just from the way the players spoke of him. And just even one thing people don't know about Alexander, he actually, when he was going to leave the stadium, he actually was on my front door, but he signed, came all the way over, pointed it out, made sure he came to sign my jersey. I thought that was pretty cool, especially stand-up player and respect towards a player that does these type of things. But in all in all, I do believe the Packers will win the Super Bowl, win the Lombardi. I say it every year, but I do firmly believe just what I've seen from the Packers and watching football. They have a dominant defense. Jordan Love is playing lights out. He had a few missed throws at the end of the game, but not everybody can do everything. But I believe the Packers will be one of those perennial players teams going into the playoffs. And like I said, prayers up to our brother in Christ, Micah Parsons. Anybody else? Zach Tom, I think, had an injury. Evan Williams had an injury yesterday. Of course, Watson, but it does look like he has good signs and indications that he will be recovering soon. So, all in all, we hope that the Packers will recover. I think, just like I said, they had a dominant game. A lot of mistakes yesterday, but I do believe it'll be shored up in the playoffs. I think Matt LaFleur has some talk and conversations to have with players and kind of just overall, but I think this injuries and stuff will mesh the team together a lot better, and I think ultimately going into the playoffs, the morale will get better and the sentiment towards around the team will get better, but players will step up, and I think the Packers will win this Lombardi trophy. Got anything to say?
Hey, just go Pack, go.
Love it. Go Pack, go.